Hi, I'm Allison, founder of Pink Nannies. Now let's talk about something that no handbook prepares you for. Goodbyes. Not the tidy 2 week notice kind, the kind that sneaks up on you quietly while you're folding pajamas or zipping a backpack. The kind where a child that you've loved for years suddenly feels a little taller or a little readier, and you realize that your chapter is ending. And even though you knew this moment would come, it still knocks the air out of you. Every career in childcare has been two constants. There's always a beginning and there's always an ending. We celebrate the first day with hugs and the newness and the chance to help a family thrive. But when the story turns toward goodbye, the industry goes quiet. So today I want to change that because leaving well is not failure. It's a form of love. Let's be honest, nannies get attached. We pour ourselves into bedtime routines, those first words, scraped knees, school projects. We show up on the messy days, the miracle days, and then the ordinary ones that fall in between. And somewhere along the way, we start believing the unspoken promise, right? Maybe this will last forever. But forever isn't the point. The impact is. And Nanny's job isn't to stay forever. Unfortunately, it's to build something that outlives her presence, to help children develop rhythms, security, confidence, so that they stand steady even when they're not there. And that's legacy. So when it's time to move on from your nanny job, whether the kids start school, the family relocates, or your life just shifts and it's not the end of your story with them, it's the moment that your work starts to echo without them. Most people treat endings like losses, and I want you to see them as evolution. That ache that you feel, that's the proof of connection done right. It means that you've created something real. And instead of asking, why does this hurt so much? Try asking, what did I help them grow into? Did you teach patience? Did you model kindness? Did you show a parent what calm looks like when everything was on fire? Those things don't end. When you walk out the door, they stay. And that's the beauty of legacy work. You leave a footprint, not just footsteps. I think it's so important that you prepare for that transition. And here's where emotional intelligence becomes your compass. Start with honesty, with yourself, with the family. If you know a change is coming, begin the conversation early, not in a panic, not in guilt, but with transparency and grace. Say something like, I want to talk about timing so that we can make this transition gentle for everyone. That sentence, it signals maturity and it gives the family time to process what is happening, and it gives you space to leave without drama. Then shift your focus to the kids. We all know children measure time differently. They don't understand contracts. They do understand consistency though. So prepare them through predictability and through reassurance. Talk about what's staying the same. Snuggles, stories, routines. Help them name their feelings, even the very confusing ones to them. You may say something like, it's okay to feel sad that things are changing. But guess what? You and I are still connecting in a big way because love doesn't go away when people do. That's emotional safety. That's closure done with integrity. The most powerful thing that you can do as a nanny is to make yourself replaceable in the best possible way. That means that you've built systems, you've built routines, there's emotional tools that others can step into. Create a small transition guide. Maybe outline favorite routines and comfort phrases, songs, meals, notes, not as control, but as a gift. It tells the next caregiver or the parents, here's what helps your child feel safe. It's not about holding on, but it is about you handling forward the calm that you have created and implemented throughout those years. And then do something symbolic, something that's so beautiful. Maybe you write the kids a short letter for the parents to save until they're older. Maybe you make a little photo book of their favorite memories. Maybe you leave a single item, a storybook that you always read together with a note in it that says, for the next adventure. Those gestures, they turn endings into keepsakes. And that reminds everyone that this work was never just a job, but it was a chapter in a child's becoming. Here is what rarely gets discussed. It's post-departure grief. When the routine stops, it can feel like a free fall. You go from hearing little voices all day to absolute silence, from being needed constantly to not at all. That emptiness, it isn't weakness. It's withdrawal from meaning, from rhythm, from purpose. So create a soft landing. Plan a week that honors what you're feeling. Sleep, walk, journaling, reach out to another nanny who's been there. Say out loud what you miss. The goal isn't to move on fast, it's to move through with honesty. And when you feel ready, reflect. What did this family teach me? Every single placement, it changes you too. It sharpens your instincts, it widens your heart, and it strengthens your boundaries. So when you see your growth clearly, gratitude starts to replace it. And it replaces grief. Seeing a family move on without you, sometimes that ending, it's not your choice. They relocate, they shift schedules, they hire someone new. Ugh, that stings. But I want you to remember, families rarely forget the person who brought peace into their home. Even if you never step foot there again, you're in their story. But I want you to remember, families rarely forget the person who brought peace into their home. Even if you never step foot in their home again, you're in their story. Every time a child repeats one of your phrases or remembers a game that you invented with them, you are still there. That's legacy, quiet, unseen, and permanent. You did your job so well that life moved forward. It's not a rejection, that's success. Leaving gracefully, it takes strength most people don't recognize. It is leadership without a pause. You're showing the children what healthy closure looks like when it means to love deeply and to still release with respect. And that's a lesson that they'll use their entire life. Because someday they'll say goodbye to a teacher or to a friend or to a partner. And they'll know endings don't have to be destroyed. They can honor and thank and then move forward. And that understanding will trace back to you. And that's the real work that you do when you work in private homes. When you frame goodbye as legacy, something shifts. You start to realize that this career, it isn't about permanence. It's about impact and density. What you give in the time that you have, so when the chapter closes, measure it not by length, but by the depth. Did you build trust? Did you model calm? Did you love well? If the answer is yes, then the chapter did its job. And you get to carry that confidence into the next home, lighter, wiser, and still soft. The most incredible nannies that I know, they treat endings as compost. They let old experiences feed new growth. Before the next interview, look at what you want to recreate and what you don't. Define the kind of partnership that lets you thrive. That's how every ending shapes your beginning. And when you meet the next family, you walk in not carrying those ghosts, but you carry wisdom because you've learned that your job isn't to find forever families, it is to create forever impact. So, to every nanny packing boxes or wiping away quiet tears at the end of a placement, you didn't lose something, but you built something that lasted. You taught children what safety feels like. You helped parents breathe easier. You left behind systems, laughter, calm, and heart. That's not goodbye. That's legacy. I'm Allison, founder of Pink Nannies. If no one has told you lately, leaving with love is one of the bravest things that you can do. You don't disappear when you walk out the door, but you leave your legacy. In your legacy, you hope it'll last a lifetime.